last talk of this first session of the morning. So Gianluca Drago, Unlocking PHAIDRAcon'25, Exploring Themes, Aims, and Pathways of the Day. So as host and co-organizer of this conference, PHAIDRA Padua will be outlining the conference structure and objectives. And the presentation of Gianluca will introduce the thematic core shaping the program and display how case studies, including those from PHAIDRA partner institutions, represent diverse themes informed by different institutional contexts and disciplinary perspectives. And so the talk provides a conceptual map for navigating the day's sessions, emphasizing the connections between institutional experiences and the emerging social and cultural role of digital repositories. And so Gianluca Drago is a librarian at the Digital Library of the University of Padua Library System. Since 2014, he has been involved in projects to digitize and promote the university's cultural heritage, contributing to the management of the PHAIDRA platform and the dissemination of its collections through the creation of digital exhibitions. Since 2020, he has been the coordinator of the PHAIDRA service for Padua. So let me say, I want to thank you, Gianluca, as a colleague, but also as a friend in many collaborations. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Elena. If you don't mind, I will stay here. I don't have slides to present, just a few words, and I have to read them, sorry. Okay, I start with this. When we first began to imagine this conference, our aim wasn't simply to organize another technical event or a routine platform update. What we really wanted was to create a moment for collective reflection, a time for the PHAIDRA community to think together about the changing role of repositories in the wider landscape of public knowledge. The theme, Connecting Scholar and Citizen, Emerging Social and Cultural Role of the Repository, reflects that ambition. It comes from a growing awareness that institutional repositories are no longer just spaces for academic storage and sharing. They are active participants in the dialogue between university and society. Three ideas in particular guided our thinking. First, the evolving mission of the universities. Across Europe, universities are now embracing what we call the third mission as the key pillar alongside teaching and research. Second, the expectations of society are changing. Citizens today don't want to remain passive recipients of academic knowledge. They want to take part, to contribute, to be recognized as partners in dialogue. And third, the question of technological maturity. After years of development and consolidation, the PHAIDRA platform is ready to move beyond the purely technical dimension, enabling new forms of collaboration, participation, and shared value creation. From these ideas, the structure of PHAIDRAcon naturally took shape. We designed the program as a kind of progressive journey, the morning devoted to theory and institutional foundation, the afternoon to concrete practices and case studies. We also aimed for a balance of voices, from global to local, from universities to extra-academic initiatives, and from established institutions to emerging communities in regions without universities at all. Of course, special attention was given to PHAIDRA's partner institutions, which today form a vibrant international network, increasingly open to perspective beyond Europe. When defining the core themes, we began by revisiting the very idea of the third mission. It's a concept that feels familiar now, yet it's actually the result of a long process of redefining the university's social role. Understanding understanding how repository fit into this mission means rethinking policies, governance, responsibilities, strategic objectives. Repositories are no longer simply archives. They are active agents of social impact. A second theme concerns the assessment of this impact. How do we measure the social value of the repository? Traditional metrics like downloads, citations, or access numbers are no longer enough. We need indicators that capture the public dimension of shared knowledge, how a digital collection contributes to common goods, to scientific citizenship, to cultural participation. And that means developing new tools and criteria in dialogue with national and international frameworks for evaluating the FAIR mission. A third idea of reflection is the international dimension. Digital cultural heritage crosses all boundaries, institutional and national alike. That's why shared standards, interoperability, and cross-border collaboration are essential. The experiences presented here show how repositories can become nodes in global community of practice, connecting with European infrastructures and helping to build a common space for knowledge. A fourth theme is citizen participation. More and more repositories are turning into open platforms where researchers and citizens work together through citizen science, crowdsourcing, and co-production of data and content. These experiments challenge traditional models of scientific validation, but they also open new paths of dialogue and mutual trust. And finally, there's a theme that runs through everything: innovation in cultural mediation. Connecting scholars and citizens also means rethinking how we present knowledge, how we narrate, translate, and make it understandable and meaningful to different audiences, from storytelling and interactive formats to immersive experiences and participatory education. Repositories are evolving into spaces of mediation rather than simple preservation. As we reviewed the program as a whole, an unexpected and unplanned yet striking thematic convergence appeared. More than few of this afternoon projects deal with memory, conflict, and democracy. Oral testimonies from the First World War, collections on the Italian resistance, photographic archives of Nazi propaganda, and projects on migration, often connected to regional or interregional conflicts. These works started long before the current geopolitical tensions, and yet today they speak with renewed urgency. They remind us that repositories are never neutral. They preserve and reinterpret collective memory, and in doing so, they carry ethical and civic responsibility. So, for instance, how do we deal with sensitive or controversial materials? How do we preserve memory without reproducing trauma, document without legitimizing violence or hatred? These questions that touch the very democratic maturity of our digital infrastructures, and they deserve a place in the PHAIDRA community's reflections. Of course, not everything can fit into a single day. Several questions remain open. One of them is about designing user experience for non-academic audiences. Traditional repositories were built for researchers, their interfaces assume disciplinary familiarity, But if we truly want to engage citizens, we must maybe rethink navigation, semantics, and storytelling so that even first-time visitors can find their way into this academic knowledge. It may be a simple observation, but another area worth exploring is how activities can connect with other forms of disseminations, projects that move beyond mere lists of digital objects, no matter how rich their metadata may be. This could include digital exhibitions, educational games, gamification, the enrichment of Wikipedia entries, contributions to Internet Archive, big digital library, as well as more direct engagement with social media platforms that shape public knowledge today. And then, of course, there's artificial intelligence. Today, or perhaps tomorrow, we have tools that can generate accessible descriptions and rich metadata automatically, translate them into multiple languages, transcribe manuscripts, and semantically link digital objects. But with these opportunities come new responsibilities, ensuring transparency, fairness, and respect for the people and the histories our data represent. So, in the end, PHAIDRAcon'25 is not just a meeting or a technical update. It is, above all, a laboratory for the future of repositories, a place where we can imagine how knowledge infrastructure can become instruments of active citizenship, cultural democracy, and the creations of the common good. The success of this conference will not be measured only by numbers of projects presented, but in our ability to shape a shared vision of the role repositories can and should play in the knowledge society, a role that is open, inclusive, participatory, and fully aware of its public responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Gianluca.